just went over the father-son riddle of John 15, and it seemed pretty straightforward once you thought of the son as the book and the father as the author. Except he kept referring to you, which could refer to pages versus words and characters within the book. John 16 basically continues with this same father-son riddle, although instead of just being a generic author and generic book, it would be specifically the book of John, or perhaps even the whole New Testament. But I think mainly the book of John, um, and not the whole New Testament, but just the Gospels themselves, which tell the story of the life of Jesus. So John 16:1, all of this I have told you so that you will not fall away. These things I have spoken to you that not you might fall away. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, a time is coming when anyone who kills you will think they are offering a service to God. Out of the synagogues they will put you, but is coming an hour that everyone, having killed you, will think it is a service to offer to God. So, the Gospels and the book of John have been put out of the synagogue. So Jewish people put the Gospels out of the synagogue and they think they're doing a service to God. And then there are translations of the text, Apologetics, who changed the words and meanings of key phrases of John, and they think they are doing a service to God. Now, regarding this, if they send a person out of the synagogues, if they kill a person, now that if they think that is a service to offer God, that just tells you the sort of God that they worship. They worship an evil God. Actually, there's more to it than that. Deuteronomy 13:5, the prophet or dreamer must be put to death for inciting rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from the land of slavery. That prophet or dreamer tried to turn you away from the Lord your God, the Lord your God commanded you to follow, and you must purge the evil from among you. So coming back to this, anyone who kills you, anyone who like destroys the Gospels, or especially destroys John's Gospel, will think they are offering a service to God. Now, that makes sense because John's Gospel seems on the surface to be inciting rebellion against the Lord who brought the Jews out of Egypt and redeemed them from the land of slavery. It seems like that prophet or dreamer tried to turn you away from the Lord your God and commanded you to follow. But what's really going on is that John is laying both hands on the live goat, Barabbas, and confessing over it all the wickedness and rebellion of the Israelites. So in Deuteronomy 13:5, the prophet is put to death for inciting rebellion. But in Leviticus 16:21, you confess all the wickedness and rebellion over the goat or the prophet and send it into the wilderness. So this part is quite right. In either case, they will put you out of the synagogue. You confess all the sins over the goat and then send it out into the wilderness. Now, a lot of people are going to want to kill the goat. You know what? I think this whole section actually works better if I change my answer to the riddle, I think I want the son in this scenario to be the scapegoat. It's a different chapter, so it's a different riddle, right? Okay, so we'll go with the scapegoat. So this is about the people that are following the scapegoat. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, anyone who kills you will think they are offering a service to God. This is about people who are following the scapegoat. And they will do such things because they have not known the Father or me. Now, who is the Father in this scenario? Perhaps it is Aaron, who is to lay both hands on the head of the live goat to confess all the wickedness and rebellion of the Israelites? Or is it the person who has been appointed for the task of taking the goat out into the wilderness? I don't know, but there is a ritual involved there about the scapegoat. So let's just regard the father of the scapegoat as being this ritual involving the scapegoat, the ritual that makes things um, the scapegoat. So the father is the Leviticus 16 ritual, and the son is the scapegoat. So they will do such things because they have not known the Leviticus 16 ritual or the scapegoat. So I have told you this so that when their time comes, you will remember that I warned you about them. I did not tell you this from the beginning because I was with you. So the scapegoat didn't tell anybody anything from the beginning, because he didn't really do it. He didn't do any of this when he was with you. Uh, it's only after the fact that Aaron or the high priest or whoever confesses all of the sins over the head of the scapegoat. So, okay. But now I am going to him who sent me, and none of you asks me, where are you going? So in the scapegoat ritual, it looks like Aaron confesses the sins and sends the goat away into the wilderness, um, in the care of someone appointed for the task. But for this situation, both roles are played by John. So none of them asks him, where are you going? I guess he's going into the wilderness. Rather, you are filled with grief because I have said these things. Because they all think he is saying that he's going to die, but he's actually saying that I'm going to go out into the wilderness. But very truly I tell you, it is for your good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate will not come to you, but if I go, I will send him to you. Okay, properties of the advocate. When he comes, he will prove the world to be wrong about sin and righteousness and judgment. He has sin, righteousness, judgment, each of which about sin, because people do not believe in me. In more explicitly, uh, they don't recognize that this is the scapegoat, and they don't recognize that most of what uh, is said here in John's Gospel about the scapegoat is sin, or at least some kind of unkindness, or maybe a subtle unkindness. About righteousness, because I am going to the Father, where you can see me no longer. Again, this sort of goes along with the goat going with someone appointed for the task and being released in a remote place, um, where you can see the goat no longer. It also seems notable to me that all of the like sins that I see reading through this text, it seems like nobody else sees them, um, and that might be because, um, of course, most of John's gospel is saying, I and the Father are one. And whenever he seems to say that, people are more concentrating on, is he really God? And they no longer notice that he's doing things that are um, not exactly the most acceptable human behavior, forgivable most of the time, but not at the pinnacle of human righteousness. So that they're not recognizing the unrighteousness because they're too focused on whether Jesus and the Father are one, and they believe the Father in all of those riddles is God. And then once they believe that the Father in those riddles is God, they no longer see what Jesus is really doing, and they think that what Jesus is doing is righteous. But if you look a little more closely at things, what Jesus does in John's Gospel is not quite so righteous. And finally, and about judgment, because the prince of this world now stands condemned. Now, I was making a case earlier that the prince of the world to be driven out. Let's see, where was that? Yeah, between John 12 and John 14, it says, now is the time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. And then he came back, for the prince of the world is coming. He has no hold over me. And then in John 16, he says, we are wrong about judgment because the prince of the world stands condemned. Now between John 12 and John 14 was John 13, where Judas Iscariot was driven out. And this says, we are wrong about judgment because the prince of this world now stands condemned. So I would say there are a couple of things this could mean. One is that we're wrong in condemning Judas Iscariot. And of course, the other one would be that we are wrong in condemning Jesus of Bethlehem. Um, and or it might just be mean humanity. Okay, John 16:12. I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. Okay, if John continues confessing all of the sins of Israel over the head of this goat, we won't be able to bear it. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on his own, he will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. He will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is to come. Then will appear the sign of man, the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the people of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. What is the word for thinking a joke is both funny and bad at the same time? Groan-worthy is perfect. Mourn-worthy is also appropriate. He will glorify me, because it is from me that he will receive what he will make known to you. All that belongs to the Father is mine. That is why I said the Spirit will receive from me what he will make known to you. All that belongs to the Leviticus 16 ritual belongs to the scapegoat. That is why I said the Spirit of truth will receive from the scapegoat what he will make known to you. So I think I'm going to entitle this section, this video, as The Ritual and the Scapegoat, because I feel like the Father in this section is the ritual of Leviticus 16, and the Son is the scapegoat itself. That seems to be a good answer to this chapter's riddle. We'll see how it works if it continues to work throughout the chapter.